Hi guys! I wanted to go through a couple more examples for those of you who felt like you didn't quite get the characteristics of quadratics yet. So I'm going to go through two more examples. These are also linked in the additional resources, so you can print them if you would like, or you can just kind of follow along with me. So I wanted to go through a couple examples. We'll start with this one. So the first question is the type of function, and the type of function is always going to be the same for these ones, for this unit, because we're only talking about one type of function, and that's quadratic. But you can also tell all quadratics are going to look like a U or an upside down U. So as soon as you see that shape, you can identify that it is a quadratic. Next is our directionality, and so we have two choices. We can either go up or go down. And you're looking at where the quadratic opens toward where the arrows are pointing. That will tell you up or down. So in our case, our arrows are pointing up. Max and min, to choose that, you are going to look to see if you have a hill or if you have a valley. And that will tell you if you're at the top or at the bottom. So we have a valley, which means that our vertex is down at the bottom, meaning it is a minimum. Next, we have to actually identify the vertex. So what is the coordinate point of the vertex? And so now that we have it labeled, we can go ahead and identify what is the x comma y, what's the point of that vertex. So our x value is 0. We've moved nowhere. And our y value, so the up and down, is also 0. And so our vertex is 0, 0. Next, we have our line of symmetry. And so line of symmetry, it's really important that you always start with x equals, because that tells us that it's a line. And then to figure out what number goes here, you have two options. You can either draw in the line of symmetry, the vertical line that would cut your parabola or quadratic in half. Parabola is just another word for quadratic. I don't think I mentioned that in the last video, but so whatever would cut it in half. And you can see as you draw down this line, you go right through the number 0, and so that's our line of symmetry. Or you can look at the x value of your vertex, which will always be the same as your line of symmetry. So however you remember it is best is fine with me. Now our intercepts. So we're going to look to see where we cross the x-axis. And so this is our x-axis. And you can see we don't really cross it, but we do touch it. So we go through and we touch the x-axis. I'm going to do this in a little different color. We touch the x-axis right here, which is a point I already drew. And that is our origin, so our 0, 0 for our x-intercept. And that's the only time it touches. So in the first example for the video, I talked about it crossed twice. You saw that it had 2 x-intercepts. This one only has 1. And then I also talked about in the last video, like if you have something like this doesn't cross the x-axis at all, so this wouldn't even have an x-intercept, so you would write none. And last is our y-intercept. So where does it cross the y-axis? This one happens to be kind of all in the same area, so that's that point again is where it touches the y, which means that the y-intercept is also 0, 0. Okay, so lots of zeros in this one. That happens when it's centered and it crosses the origin like that. So let's do one more. So we have this last problem. So again, type of function, we see that it's an upside down U shaped, so it is a quadratic. For directionality, I see that my arrows are pointing down. To figure out if we have a max or a min, we see, okay, we have a hill. And so that means that the very top of the hill is a max. That max is our vertex, and so we need to name that point. So our x value, we go x value first is -1, -2. And then our y value going up is 1, 2, 3, 4. So our vertex is -2, +4. And that's this point right here. Our line of symmetry is our x equals, and we have to pick the number. What is the x value that the line goes through? And so remember, you can look right here, so -2, or if you go ahead and you draw in your line, you can see that we do in fact cross -2. And finally, our intercepts. So our x-intercepts, where we cross the x-axis. So I can see I cross here, and I cross here. So this point over here is -1, -2, -3, -4, comma 0. And our other one is 0, comma 0. Our y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, and we can see we already drew a dot there. It is at 0, 0. And those are all of our characteristics. So if you feel good about this now that you've watched the second video, you can go ahead and move to the practice and then take the quiz for this week. If you're still feeling a little bit unsure about this, reach out to us via email. We can help you a little bit more one-on-one. Or you can use the other additional resources, which include some con videos and things like that, to help you understand these characteristics before you take the quiz. Okay, make sure everything for this week is done by Thursday at noon. Hope you guys have a great day.